Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gordon Frayne. We are back with an update today for Solana. As always, if you enjoy the content, please give the video a thumbs up below, hit that subscribe button, smash the bell notification icon, and you've got a completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin waiting for you in the description of this video. Go ahead, grab it now, 100% free, and let's talk about Solana. So again, we've been covering Solana extensively on the channel here, and it's definitely been a painful couple of months for the price action of Solana since these January highs. And again, if we zoom back here to Q4 of 2024 and see what was happening as we saw Solana's price action move through November and December, we had a very big run up in price here in the immediate aftermath of the US election results. We had the entire market pumping, but Solana making a very big move here from November 5th onwards. Again, in a very short period, we had a 70% increase in price for Solana in that initial 2.5 weeks after the election result confirmation. Again, we had a little bit of a pullback after that, moving back down to this $180 area. And if you guys remember, the launch of the Trump token in the middle of January saw the prices of Solana skyrocket here from $180. Let's just measure this on a percentage basis again. $180 all the way up to $295 by this peak in a 5-day period. Another 60% increase in price for Solana when we had a huge amount of demand. Everyone was trying to swap into Solana in order to get their hands on the Trump token. We saw huge volumes coming through leading Solana dexes like Radium and Orca, and the price of Solana squeezed way higher as a result. And naturally, after that, we did have a little bit of a pullback. That spike of demand shot prices higher. We had to get back to, revert to the mean, as they say. And after that, we did actually see Bitcoin's price continue to move down in the second half of January into February, and Solana, along with the rest of the altcoin market, followed suit and continued pulling back as well. So what we saw was Solana lost that 200-day simple moving average by the time we got to the middle of February. You can see we came down lower. We came back to retest this long-term trend, which was also broken just a few days later. That long-term trend line going back to the end of 2023 as a key level of support here. We can see that we bounced off of it multiple times, September, October of 2024. It held a support before moving higher. Unfortunately, we lost that again around the middle to end of February. We retested it and continued coming lower, and we've continued to consolidate essentially between 120 and 150 for the past few weeks. As you can see, we're currently sitting at about $126 per Solana, and I do think there's some decent support here now around this $120 area. We did come as low as $111, $112 per token a few weeks ago with these March 10th and 11th lows, and we've managed to put in some higher lows over the past couple of weeks, but we have pulled back in the past couple of days, as you can see here on the chart as well. But I do think this could be a good buying zone for Solana. Again, if you are bullish on Solana long term, much better to be buying in at these prices here between 120 and 140 compared to purchasing these highs up at $280, $290. Again, this is not financial advice, guys. Always make sure to do your own research from a technical perspective on the charts, but also from a fundamental perspective, and understanding all of these projects in the crypto space is super important if you're going to be parting with and investing your hard-earned capital. I like to look at everything from a fundamental and a technical perspective, and part of that fundamental analysis is essentially what's happening from an on-chain perspective with Solana as well. So I don't think anything has fundamentally changed with Solana. It is still a very scalable, high throughput blockchain, very cost effective, very efficient, and very quick to use. If you're used to using Solana, if you're providing liquidity on dexes, if you're executing swaps and transactions natively on chain with Solana, you know just how quick and snappy Solana can be, especially compared to other legacy blockchains like Ethereum mainnet. If we jump over to the Artemis terminal, many of you have seen me referencing this before, but we've seen phenomenal growth with regards to daily active addresses and daily transactions on the Solana blockchain over the course of the past year. And yes, a lot of this is driven by AI agents and meme coins and all of the hype that was happening on Solana's network over the past year. But you can't deny the amount of volume and activity happening when you compare it to some of the other leading blockchains. At the beginning, or around March of 2024, you had around 1 to 1.5 million daily active addresses on average here on the Solana blockchain. By the time we got into August and September of last year, we were consistently seeing 2 to 3, even 4 million daily active addresses on Solana's chain, and we went even higher. By the time we got into Q4 here, we were consistently seeing 6, 7, 8 million daily active addresses on the Solana network. And when we compare that to some of the other leading blockchains like Tron, like Base, like Sui, and like Ethereum mainnet, you can see just how much growth we've had with Solana and how it is significantly outpacing many of these other chains when it comes to both daily active addresses and daily transactions. The daily transactions has not been as dramatic in terms of growth, but it still dwarfs many of the other blockchains when you're looking at Solana doing, even just in the past few days, 90 million daily transactions on chain. That is essentially 10x more than the nearest competitor with Tron, Base, Sui, Ethereum, and then Berachain and Sonic, some of the newer EVM compatible layer 1 blockchains making a name for themselves here in 2025. Solana is still dwarfing a lot of the competition when it comes to those daily transactions. Again, you're seeing lots of DEX volume happening across Solana's ecosystem with this green line here. You're seeing Ethereum still making up the majority of the TVL in DeFi, but Solana in a second place here, making some pretty good growth over the course of the past year as well. And when it comes to fees, you can see that we've been getting some pretty good fees on Solana and some good revenue, and comparing that to other blockchains as well. So the on-chain technicals are also looking very strong for Solana. And when we zoom out here and look at the top inflows, outflows, and net flows, we can see that Solana has been seeing significant net flows over the past 1 year period. So lots of capital flowing into Solana's network over the past year, net flows of over $3 billion. It is second only to the Base network, and Base is a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum. Main reason I would say Base is seeing the majority of the net flows over the past year is because it's simply and fundamentally a much more scalable, cost-efficient, and high-throughput chain versus Ethereum mainnet. And a lot of people who were previously transacting on mainnet are now using Base in terms of providing liquidity, generating yield, because Base is so much quicker and so much more cost efficient compared to Ethereum mainnet. So Solana is second only to Base over the course of the past year. And again, if we zoom in even closer here, maybe just to the past few months, I think we can do the past 3-month period here, we can see that Solana is technically the third largest in terms of total net flows, $500 million here over the past 90 days. So again, it's third only to Base and Berachain, which launched in the past couple of months. So as a new blockchain, Berachain is seeing a lot of new net inflows over the past 90 days as well. So Solana is still seeing a lot of growth over the past 90 days. And for me, that bodes very well, because if you look at the price action over the past 90 days, if we zoom out on the chart here and go back 60, 90, we have to go all the way back here, I think, all the way to the beginning of January to get 90 days of price action here on the chart. It's clear that we've had prices moving to the downside. We were up at around, $200, $220 here 90 days ago. So it bodes pretty well for me that we're seeing a huge amount of inflows into Solana, despite the fact that price is significantly lower over the past 90 days. And again, it's important to really understand what's happening with these chains from a fundamental perspective, from an on-chain perspective, because despite the pullback in price, you're still seeing growth and increased capital flowing into Solana over the past 3 months. So that bodes well for me. I'm excited about the future potential of Solana. I still think nothing fundamentally has changed. You're going to see the projects, for AI agents, for meme coins continuing to converge to use the blockchain that is the most cost efficient and scalable, because obviously they know Solana is not going to break when they launch those projects, and they want to be using a high throughput chain where they're not going to experience errors, and that's what Solana gives you. So that's my take on Solana at the moment, guys. Again, not financial advice, but you could consider scooping up some Solana if you're bullish on it long term. Again, I did make price predictions on Solana. If you want an updated price prediction, drop me a comment below. And the final thing I will mention is, if you're interested in decentralized finance and you want to learn more about how you can generate cash flow with Solana and many other blockchain networks, come on over to the Crypto Labs Underdog Investor Group. I'm leaving a link for it below this video. Again, I'm providing help for a whole bunch of people over here in the Underdog Investor Group. We have a great community of people here. There's a completely free course that you can go through to learn all about decentralized finance and how you can take back control and start providing liquidity in order to generate cash flow, generate yield for yourself, and become your own bank. It's super important information. I think we're only going to continue moving towards a world that is using more and more blockchain technology, and the opportunity is there for you to be an early mover in this space. Get the advantages of learning this new paradigm, this new blockchain and digital paradigm, where you can be your own bank, take back control, generate income, and essentially live off of your cash flow and yield in decentralized finance. There's a great community, lots of conversation happening over here. Check out the link below in the description of this video and learn more about it for yourself. That's it for today's video, guys. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Solana. If you want an updated price prediction, I want to put one together in the next week or two. Drop a comment below. If you got any value at all out of this video, please give it a thumbs up before you leave. It's really helpful for the algorithm, and I would really appreciate it. Again, hit that bell notification icon, make sure to subscribe, and you've got a completely free gift, The Rise of Bitcoin, waiting for you in the description of this video as well. Grab it below, check out the UIG as well, and we'll catch you in the next one.